story that's going on right now, and it's basically has to do with the Netflix Warner deal that's coming through. I want to talk to you kind of about everything, the what it means, culturally as well as financially, as this will definitely have an impact on a lot of the industry. And I'll put it up here. But basically, there's a lot of opposition that's growing, and it's very touchy. Okay, so buckle up. Netflix wants to buy Warner Brothers, and then they're going to take all their business. And the big concern is that, that too many big companies, are consolidating in this scene, and there's now not that many places to work. You're all gonna basically end up having the same boss, and I mean that means maybe one of your bosses could be Apple, one of the bosses could be Netflix, and they're just the biggest companies, in the world right now. So um, Apple's going through its own kind of thing right now because a lot of their executives are leaving as well, and it's not looking good. There's lots of them, high profile. I mean, they make great products, they make great equipment. Don't get me wrong, but um, who knows? So both of them are being basically shaped by what's going on with the AI stuff. That's you know, I mean, just look at Tilly Norwood, for instance. One of the new AI actors, right? Who was birthed, and now everybody's fearing that there's all going to be these AI actors, and one company's gonna happen in only one place. All of these jobs are gonna you know intersect, and the reality is there will be a lot of layoffs, especially just for instance account finance. Because you're going to have some accountants from Netflix, you're going to have some accountants from Warner, and a lot of things is going to happen is to say, hey, we kind of have different processes, or we do different things, or hey, we want to bring in our own team, or you know um, I mean, that's a reality when mergers happen. I've seen it multiple times that people lose their jobs when when everything gets consolidated. So, I mean, this kind of gives a lot of people the feeling more and more that the whole industry is going towards AI, and it's just going to be even, tied too much to, you know, possibly political leanings. We've all seen what happens with the Paramount, merger deal, and how that kind of had to happen in a certain way before it got approval. Even so, though, a lot of people are against this. They do not want this. And I mean, just look at Amazon, right? They bought MGM, and now now they can do whatever they want about making the new James Bond. So, you know, I know there was a lot of different. I mean, there was a MGM boss who basically said, "Hey, yeah, this is gonna wreck house, and it's not gonna be good because there's gonna be so much losses on top of combining departments and then using AI to then even thin out even more." I mean, who knows? It's been like that. It's been really, really tough in the entertainment, in for a number of reasons, several strikes, the COVID period, you know, AI is now on the scene, and now we're feeling pressure from overseas. So it's kind of similar to what Apple's kind of going through in that respect. I mean, just take a look at this Tilly Norwood character right here, right? This is them being birthed, and it's they look pretty real, but are we going to get an actual voice, a personality? What's going to happen? Right? I mean, a photo you could typically fool someone, right? But AI's videos, they're a lot easier to tell that that they are fake, right? Um, but hey, even George Clooney said, that basically, hey, even Hollywood thought, it would be easy to make a star, right? So I think it's gonna be, um, you know, it's gonna be difficult. I know James Cameron, the director of the Avatar as well as many other great sci-fi movies, is really not happy about this either. He's horrified basically, and Guillermo del Toro, he'd rather die than make a movie with AI. So I mean, you actually have to think about that. The actual directors and visionaries of films are saying like, hell no, I don't want any part with that. And like I said, AI is going to have the same problem with Hollywood, that it's, making a star isn't that easy. There's always going to be complications and trying to, dial things in. But, you know, I'm saying this because if you ever worked in Hollywood, there's a divide between like the labor of the CEO types versus the writers, the producers, the grips, everyone who's on the floor. There's always a difference. They Yeah, and now they're like, let's just cut the talent because it costs too much now. With everybody getting their union and demands met, they're now just kind of using AI to say, hey, why would we do that, right? I mean, the idea being that the CEO is, hey, if I can replace you with automation and AI, then I don't it means I don't have to worry about you and payroll and human stuff. And not every studio thinks this way. So I just want to preface that as well. But Netflix is definitely known for giving their artists a lot more freedom to do what they want in their space. So I will give them that. Like we're all hoping, right, that a Henry Cavill Warhammer 40K comes out, right? That finally actually happens. But I mean, I'm kind of done with everybody buying everybody. I think there's way too much consolidation right now. The game is kind of cooked. I mean, like I said, Amazon bought MGM. Now they control, they control, like I said, yeah, the James Bond series, and now they're gonna pick whoever they want, right? For James Bond, the original creators and family have Broccoli, I believe, Broccoli. Um, but like I said, hey, will they actually make that 40 Warhammer 40K? I like the fact that Henry Cavill, who's really invested in it, is pushing it forward. So that makes it good. I mean, I say this because I don't think any of us have seen like a Warhammer 40K, but be it a show or a movie, and it kind of gives us some good vibes, like Fallout, kind of, right? So, um, and it just kind of goes back to one of my other topics is that is they've run out of ideas. They have no originality. We're just re-releasing crap and remaking crap. I mean, now we're re-releasing a 4 hour, 3.5 hour cut, right, of Kill Bill in December, and it's like, I mean, I like watching it at home, but they're gonna re-release in theaters the Lord of the Rings Fellowship because it's coming up on the 25th anniversary. It's like, do you have anything else in there? Like they're redoing the never-ending story. I mean, it says it all right there. I think. I mean, I laugh because it's just it. They're just running out of ideas. Let's just and nobody wants to take a gamble, right? It's too much of a risk now. So they'd rather just make crap that they lose money on. It seems like. But there's this really funny, picture right here from this like Mac rumor website basically, wherein it shows this picture here of all of these uh, executives who have left or are planning on leaving, and it's not good. Let me tell you, it's not good. I mean, think about that because I mean, Apple still has Apple TV, right? So a lot of these executives also work in that space too. So same thing with Tesla. All the executives are kind of leaving there too. So I mean, there was once a time. I remember. I don't know about you, but Steve Jobs would come out on stage and he pulled the iPhone out of his pocket, and the whole thing was staged. Though everybody thought this was the greatest thing ever. He took like 8 weeks. It was a totally scripted thing when he demoed the iPhone, and a lot of people knew it didn't work. But people were drinking whiskey in the control room when Jobs was demoing that. So keep that in mind. That's. I mean, sometimes they just try and push the envelope, but it's not really there. Look at the Neo robot, right? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to talk to you guys about even Samsung is creating their own streaming stuff that's taking away market share from Apple, you know? It might get to a point where we say, hey, remember that when Apple used to be able to sell all the phones and now we're all, using, foreign or, different phones, It's just funny. I mean, Netflix is building so much in their partnerships, and innovating just like any good company would. Like, just look at how they're doing the Squid Games, right? That is a Korean show. It's a massive hit for Netflix, and they're, working with them to make the, season two. And, there's a lot of talent basically that goes back and forth between, the countries as far as, binational or however you want to say it, But, yeah, it's just crazy because like they look at K-pop Demon Hunters, right? Like how big of a moneymaker that was for them. Hollywood is bracing itself for a more belt tightening and job losses if Netflix's 83 billion deal to acquire Warner Brothers goes through as entertainers and industry powerful unions urge regulators to block the transaction. Well, if we know how the last several mergers have gone, it's gonna happen. Unfortunately, this Hollywood screenwriters also joined. They've had a long criticized Netflix for the reluctance to widely distribute films for the big screen. So a lot of people basically say that this threatens the entire entertainment industry and that layoffs in future of the two things like cinematic releases and a lot of people are worried about. I totally understand because you know like I said, even Paramount and Comcast tried to come close to buying it, but it didn't happen. So I don't know. It's just crazy kind of see how everything's happening with AI. I mean, we're seeing independent artists make really cool stuff as well as innovate in technology. I really am interested to see where this goes. Hopefully, we can. I'd love to see kind of movies come back to I don't know like an internet model or something like Louis C.K. You make an amazing movie and it's all on AI and you charge $5 right to watch it. I don't know. But tell me what you think. Where do you think the future is for Netflix? Is this good? I mean, you know, what are we gonna do, and how are we gonna consume content in the future? Let me know if this is a W or an L. Like and subscribe if you made it this far. I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you have a great night. Peace.